do I want to say? There's like so many things to say. I could talk about my fish. I don't have a fish. That was a lie. I don't know why I said I could talk about. This isn't even relevant to the title. Oh, I guess. Hold on. Can I flip it? Let's see. You talk about a lot of random things once in a while in life, or all the time if you're me. But sometimes you just have to be intentional. Bam. That's the title. You have to bring value and meaning to what you're talking about. Roll intro. Hey, what's going on, young preacher? So glad you're here for another episode of Dear Young Preacher. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. We are nothing without you. Man, your views, your likes, your subscribing makes so much of a difference. And so if you haven't gotten the opportunity, go subscribe right now. Click that button just so you can stay in the loop and turn on post notifications. Turn on those notifications so you can know when we post, so you can know when we have a new video. We have some pretty cool things in the mix, and you're gonna want to be in the loop about it for sure. But I'm so excited, and as I said in the intro, kind of haphazardly, we're talking about being intentional. If you ever went to Gordon College for a period of life, you know those words, be intentional. I remember using it and man, being like, oh my gosh, they use these words so much. But now I really understand the importance of intentionality. And so I'm going to tell you a story of two churches, both churches that I've preached at before. One church I go to, the pastor is like, okay, guys, we're going to this worship night, and man, we're going to go because we always go and we always show support. So put that in your calendars to make sure you go. Another church, go there, and I'm getting ready to preach, and everyone stands up, and the pastor's like, okay, let's read the mission of the church. And they go through this thing. The church exists to blah, 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 blah. And he's like, okay, let's read our vision. And we as a body exist to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? Okay, I totally gave my answer to the question I was going to ask. But the question that I was going to ask is, what church is better? Listen, I in no way seem or mean to say one is God honoring and the other is not God honoring, but simply which church is better. And again, in no means do I mean to come off prideful or that I know all about churches, but I genuinely think the church that read the mission and vision before service every Sunday, in some senses, is more prepared to advance the story and kingdom of the gospel. I think intentionality is so important. Being intentional is simply noticing something and being very strategic at the use therein of it. And so the church that is saying, man, we do this because we always do this, isn't as effective as the church who says, man, we exist for this reason, and we're going to remind you why we exist. And it's all intentional. Listen, when you're not intentional and you kind of just do things for the sake of doing it, there comes a point where your members forget why you do what you do. And so, yeah, none of us could be pastors right now at the moment. If you are a pastor, what up? Comment. I'm so glad you're watching. But for those of us who aren't pastors, we could think, man, that doesn't apply to us. We're not starting a church right now. We don't have to be intentional at, communicating why we go to service or why we're going to this worship night. And yet there is still a sense of you needing to be intentional with everything you do and say. As a preacher, your words matter. Every word you use, every vocab word that's being used, all plays a purpose in this larger scenario. Your words matter, your actions matter, the things spoken and not spoken matter. You have to be intentional. I worked at a church for a little bit, and they had coffee cups, and on those coffee cups, they just had question starters. And so the people would read the questions, and then they'd engage in conversation with each other. And I asked the pastor, what's the purpose of that? And he's like, man, we believe that if those questions are in the cup, then people will begin to talk to each other and have conversations when they normally wouldn't. Strategic planning isn't just having a plan. No, strategic planning is saying, okay, this is A and this is B. This is what happens if A goes well. This is what happens if A doesn't go well. This is what happens if B goes well. This is what happens if B doesn't go well. It is being intentional and being strategic with every move that you make. Don't leave it up to chance because the call and the importance of life is so important. Man, the harvest is plentiful, but there's so much that needs to be done that you just leaving it up for whim and you just leaving it up for, well, maybe it'll happen at this point or another is not good enough. And we could take our example from a God who is intentional in every move that he made. He wasn't just saying, man, maybe this will happen or maybe this will happen, but in every law, every decree, every person that was sent, it was to fulfill this greater purpose. God didn't leave things up to chance in dealing with us, and so you shouldn't leave things up to chance in your ministry, in your preaching, in your daily life. Be intentional, be purposeful, do all that you do with a reason behind it, and you will truly see God move. Thank you.